We're ready for a big topic today. How are things?
I'm happy to see you. I'm tired. Oh, the traffic. Oh my gosh, the traffic. And I
Hey,
said, I need to be home finishing my book, and I'm stuck in traffic.
so you're going to deal with it today. So our topic is from PhD to pen, reinventing yourself as a romance novelist. What was the turning point that led you from academia to romance writing? I know that it was after you retired, but kind of tell us that
I
story.
didn't retire. I quit. Um, let's see. Excuse me. Well, as I've said before, I when I was young, I I wrote things. When I was 5 years old, in the Dallas Morning News, they put in there something I said to my mother. She was going to the grocery store, and I said, "Mom, pick up that hot stuff with the cool name, chili." And so I was always, my brain did that even at 5. But I had stuffed animals, and they would fall in love and have to argue and fight because this one was a seal and this one was a bear, and their families didn't like it. And then I graduated to Barbie and Ken. And then I started to school, and then I high school, and then college, and ad nauseum with all my education. So I was writing academically. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted to continue to do what I did when I was little. I would write, I found in my notebooks, high school notebooks, because I kept some of them. And I thought, didn't you write something in your notebook? I wrote in the back of my notebook, I wrote beginnings of little stories, love stories. I I didn't I didn't understand the difference between a love story and a romance, but there is a difference. But when you're a novice or even a kid, you don't know that. You're just writing a love story. So I started doing that in high school, and then that kind of went on the back burner when I started my academic higher education.
So once you quit, how did your colleagues react to your shifting career in writing romance novels?
Well, most of them don't know. Um, I did. One of them wanted to read what I was writing, so I sent her my manuscript, and I forgot she was real religious, and she said, "My gosh, I never dreamed you would write something like this." So, it, you know, it's not for everybody. Um, and when I went to this book club, uh, they said something about the sex, and I told them that almost every spicy romance indicates there's going to be some sex in it. They have sweet ones, and you know different kinds of genres in the romance subgenres in the um, romance novels. But if you're writing a spicy, it should be on the description somewhere so that they know um, they should be prepared. And the fourth book I'm writing in this Four Horsemen has uh, a, it would be rape today. It would be rape. And the butler is having sex with one of the maids.
Oh no. Okay.
against her will, but she has to do it because she wants to keep her job. If she didn't do it, then she'd lose her job. And so I put that in there, and I've thought about maybe going back and calming it down a little bit, but I need to let the readers know that there is going to be some um,
Right.
non-consensual
Oh
sex.
dear. Oh dear. Yes. This is gonna be interesting to see the response. What skills transferred seamlessly and which ones didn't from
From
your from PhD to romance novelist?
uh, well, writing for one thing. When you write and you write and you write, then you can write. The the sentence structure, the verbiage, putting a dialogue together, all those things came out of academia into writing. That was pretty easy for me. Um, and I write, I have a kind of a outline, how it starts, what's going to happen maybe in the middle, and how it ends. Most of the time, I know those three things. Sometimes the characters change the ending.
Right.
um, and I was telling this book club that I spoke, where I spoke, that the book one, the Martin and Muriel, the Marquis Seeks His Muse, I wasn't going to have happen what happened. The the confessions of the bad guy and what he had done. Uh, I I didn't I wasn't I didn't plan to do that. The characters did it.
Mhm.
And when I tell people that, they go, "Yeah, but you write the characters." But they come to life, and I can't control what they do. I know that sounds really sane.
Yeah.
Um, maybe another writer would understand, and maybe not. Maybe they don't
Exactly.
they don't think like that, but I certainly do. But going from academia, the writing part was seamless. Mhm.
How did your voice as a fiction writer after years of an academic, how did you find your voice as a fiction writer after years of writing as an academic writer?
I think I think how I've had stories in my head, and I've written little stories about Martin and Muriel. I've written about them. I've written stories about Rosa, and so they kind of help me create the voice that I have. It was there, dormant, so to speak. But I don't. I write everything myself. I write everything. I have noticed that with a couple of authors, and I'm not going to name names, but I'd read their first book, and it would read one way. And then I'd read the second book, and I'm going, this wasn't written by the same person, because it's a different voice. And if you're a writer, or probably if you're an avid reader, you notice those things. You can hire a writer I think there's several websites dedicated to authors, and then there's people that sign up to do those things. And I can't, how can you say that you wrote the book when you didn't?
Right.
But they do that, and I guess it's acceptable. And I, for me, there's a difference, and I do um, switch them from time to time, accidentally or unconsciously. An author has a different connotation to it than a writer. And so I'm actually an author, and I try to make sure I say that I'm not a writer. I don't just sit there and write for, you can write for somebody, or you can rewrite, or you can edit, or all those things I think are writing. But creating and putting your thoughts on paper, to me, that's the definition of being an author.
Yeah.
So, but I'm more particular about words than 99 and 44/100% of the population are. Uh, what drives me crazy is where was he at? Where was he at? He wasn't at anywhere. And my husband says they, even people, professional people on TV say that. And so I watched the news a few nights, and uh, where is it at, or that, using that at the end of a sentence when it's not even necessary.
Yep. It's crazy.
I know, but that's, and if you notice it once, you're going to start noticing it a lot. And you get to where you feel like calling them or writing a letter and saying, that's not grammatically correct. And you're representing or setting an example for the population. You should try to be a little more astute. But yeah, things like that I'm really particular about. There are some characters that do talk like that. The less educated characters I have in books, they might talk like that. But the aristocrats should never talk like that.
So yeah. So what advice would you offer people that are going to transition like you into writing books?
Read a lot of romance, well, whatever genre you want to get into, whatever genre, you need to read a lot of them
Yep.
and start writing.
100%.
Um, Ernest Hemingway said, you learn to write by writing. But I would add, you need to read to write. So you would have to be if you never written anything, it would be imperative that you read other people's work. My this one, the Marquis Seeks His Muse, and this one, this one's a little thicker. The Marquis Makes His Match. These are a little longer than a lot of the romance novels, and that's okay because there's a lot of them that are long like this. The spacing is good, And I noticed with some of the other authors, with every new paragraph, they do you remember when you were in school and if you started a new paragraph, you had to have that double space?
Right.
They do that. And I'm thinking, nobody does that. If you're a writer, you don't do that. But a lot of these uh, writers do that. A lot of writers. There are some romance authors that I just love. Uh, I love their stories. I enjoy reading their work. Um, there's one author, I don't know if she's an author, maybe she's a writer, but anyway, I like her stories, if those are her stories. I like her stories, but the writing is atrocious.
Right.
I read them because I like the story, but I'm like, oh my God.
It just drives you nuts. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So call to action for people to go to minavalentine.com or go to Amazon, purchase your books. And the book four is coming soon.
Yes, 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 yes. Very